Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Genius is going to explain to you if genius. We're going to explain if Metallica is in fact slop or not. Now, how are we going to do that? First, we're going to go over what is slop, how to detect slop. Number one, what is slop? Number two, how to detect slop. Number three, how much of Metallica's catalog is in fact slop. Number four, are Metallica even talented? And then fifth, I'm going to tell you if you're going to think Metallica are slop or not. Now let's look here. How to figure out what slop is, right? So we look at the music matrix and it goes energy on this side, 0 to 11 metal, and then 0 to 10 is catchiness, right? Anything in here is the low energy, low catchiness. This is the slop line. Anything less than 7 is considered slop, right? Um, by people who are not fans of it, but just in general, right? If I don't like indie music, and I would call it bad indie music, it's because it's less than a 7. If it's sufficiently catchy, I would just call it pop. Yeah, maybe indie and pop. As you go across the slop line, you can add it. So indie and pop. If Green Day writes a punk song that's really catchy, it might get called punk and rock, rock and punk, right? Punk rock. Metal, for Metallica as an example, if a song is extremely catchy for a metal song, though it still would be considered metal, now people who aren't just metal fans, who like it for the energy, regardless of the catchiness, people who also like catchiness are going to call it rock because it's above the energy line for rock. High energy, low energy is pop, right? Above, past, when it's not slop and it's high energy, it's rock. When it's low energy, it's pop. Now that we know what slop is, it's a less than a 7 on catchiness. We're going to figure out how do we detect when slop is occurring and when it's not occurring, right? So the easiest way to tell if something is slop or not, if it's catchy or not, though there are many factors that go into catchiness, the easiest one for us to tell is based off of the average predictability of the different elements. Maybe the guitar is really unpredictable. Maybe the lyrics of the song are unpredictable, or the combination of things, right? And so we're going to look here. If something is completely corny, it's going to be slop. It's going to be slop. This is catchiness up and down. This is predictability here. If it's corny, very on the corny end of predictability, it's going to be slop. If it's completely incoherent as well, it's also going to be slop. If it's in the money zone, it has a chance at being a smash hit or a hit, but it can still be total slop, and it can still just be for fans or a deep cut or a B-side that fans are going to like. This is music for fans. This is slop regardless of who's listening to it. This is for everyone, and this is for pretty much everyone completely. Now that we know what slop is and how to detect it, now we want to look at how much of Metallica's catalog is slop. And so this is going to give us a better idea. Because some people go, oh, well, David Bowie has 10 really good hit songs. And those songs are better, than Motorhead's top 10 songs. So David Bowie's better than Motorhead. But if you look at the ratio of slop in the entire catalog, most of David Bowie's music is completely god-awful and unlistenable slop, right? You can see slop. This is the quantity. This is the quality, right? And so most of it's slop. And there's very few hits, but those hits are so good that people then just remember the hits and they go, oh, they're great. Limp Bizkit tries to do this, but Limp Bizkit only has like 3 or 4 or 5 hits. And so out of 10, the other 5 are total garbage. And so people go, oh, on average, they're slop. Now, I might think Limp Bizkit has 10 good songs because I can pick them because I've gone through it. But most people aren't going to say that, right? Because they either don't like high energy rock music or they're not going to spend the time going through and finding those songs. Limp Bizkit. Now let's look at Metallica. Metallica, see, this is Led Zeppelin. They have 50-50. They're pretty even, same with Nine Inch Nails. But I would say Metallica's got something looking more like a classic catalog where, same with the Beatles, Rage Against the Machine, Daft Punk, they pretty much only put out records that are greatest hits records and or for fans. There's not a lot of complete garbage. Now, maybe you could say recently, Metallica has so many good records that the amount of total garbage is low. Now, if you're a total metalhead, you're like, the energy is lower in Saint Anger. I don't care about the snare. Like, I don't care about that. I'm not a metalhead who came in with all this lore. I'm just a guy who likes rock music and who can look at it. I'm like, no, okay. In general, I think the ratio is something more like this for Metallica. So they seem to have more of a classic catalog, in my opinion. So now we know what is slop, how to detect it, how much slop Metallica has. Now we're going to see if Metallica is even talented, because this is going to tell us if you're going to think they are slop or not, depending on what you look for when you're looking at a band. Do you care about the brand? Do you care about the musicianship, the virtuosity of the musicians? Do they have technical abilities and you care about the songwriting, right? So Metallica is one of the rare metal bands that gets a green, green, green on the songwriting category. So this is a green, green means good, yellow means mid, red means bad, means medium, yellow means medium. Now, musicianship, vibe, skill. You've got James Hetfield. You've got, I guess you could put James Hetfield there with the singer and second guitarist. And then you've got Kirk Chammett and originally Dave Mustaine. And they're both iconic and have really good skill. Any of the bassists, I would put them there. Jason Newsted. You got Robert Trujillo. You've also got, what's that guy, Leif Erikson? No, Cliff Burton. Anyways, yeah, and people like to dog on Lars. Even if you put Lars as a red in skill, just for your own sake, it's still, on average, the band is green in terms of musicianship. So pretty unanimously, people go, oh, they have the greatest riffs and style and things, yada, 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 pretty good metal. And now brand, this is important because if you just care about brand, you're kind of like Kim Kardashian who sees a Metallica shirt and goes, oh, that's a cool name, cool impact, cool culture. I hear about them a lot. They have a cool aesthetic. They have cool merch. They have good album arts. They have good logos. They have consistent, cool themes that go with all of that and a good stage design. So I think overall, I want to talk myself into liking them, even if I don't like the music, and even if it's not that good quality, because the brand is so good. A good example of that is Typo Negative. All these girls on TikTok now are like, I love Typo Negative. Oh my God, it's so good. And you're just sitting there like, hey, hon, it's because of the brand. You've just fallen for branding. Because the musicianship and skill, they have a great vibe, but Typo Negative was not talked about by teenage girls. It was not a big thing. And I would say one that was overlooked but got picked up because of some of this stuff is also Mindless Self-Indulgence. Now that we know, so if you just care about, but this is the thing, Metallica is a three-quadrant band, as I'm going to call it. Hello, I'm right here. Brand, musicianship, and songwriting, they're excellent at all of these. They have really good songwriting, which makes them stand out as a metal band, because most metal bands don't, most punk bands don't, most high-energy bands don't past the 80s. Let's see, let me move that. Boom, Boomer, okay, Boomer, you're freaking Boomer. So most people don't think about what's the best song from that artist, and they also don't think about what's the average song across the catalog, though if they did for Metallica, it would still rank them pretty high. So I'm going to say I'm charting it down now. We got Metallica is talented in musicianship, songs, and brand, which means they're going to be low controversy. When people say if they're good or bad, they're all going to agree. Catalog's going to look like that, mostly good. And then we're going to look at the top 10 songs I picked, because most people just think the top 10 songs. So, enter Sandman. After never, never, that boom, boom, boom. And then, give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire. Section! Seek and destroy! And then, darkness! Oh my God, I'm trying to work. Darkness, impersonate me. All that I say, absolute horror I cannot sell. Lay it on say. And then, obey your master. I'm bigger to do. By your master. And then, for whom the battles, time after time. Down. Hey, I'm your man. I'm the one who takes you there. Hey. I'm the one who cares. Holier than thou you are. No, not. And then the thing that should not be. Down, 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 and then Creeping Death. Oh my God. Yeah. In general, the energy stays up in the high metal kind of range, the 9 to 8 range, right? I guess not the high, but high. Yeah, they stay here in the 9 to 8 range. It gives them an 8.1 on average when you're looking at the best songs, right? And then their catchiness is about an 8.4. So shocking no one, because they have a classic catalog, you tend to end up very clearly not on the slop line. Bands who don't even make it past the slop line when you think of the top 10, they tend to be in the slop zone permanently. And if someone's permanently in the slop zone, most people don't know about them unless the brand is really strong or if the musicianship's really high. Like Primus, I wouldn't be surprised. Now, Primus has probably 10 songs that make it here just because they made so many albums, but in general, Primus ends up in the slop zone right? If you're looking at the average across the catalog, for sure. And Metallica might start to get to the slop sound, but they have so many songs that are so catchy and so high energy. You know, slop tends to pull you, if you start here like Metallica, slop tends to pull you down and back kind of towards the origin, but, you know, just kind of down in terms of energy and quality and whatnot. And so, yeah, it's kind of what you see. But someone like Primus, who is talented in one area and not as talented in the other, or Typo Negative maybe is a good example. There's lots of people who have really good brands and just aren't, they don't, they flub on other things. A lot of metal bands tend to be really good at high energy and really bad at catchiness, so they end up being total slop. But it works because if you're trying to hit a max bench press, you just want to get friggin' adrenaline going from the energy. You don't care about how catchy it is. You're not listening to it. You want to, you know, you're trying, that's what you're trying to do. Anyways, so Metallica, what do you think? Agree, disagree? It's like a mortal man. Megadeth, what do you think about them? Anyways, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for doing that. I'll see you in the next videojuego.